So I'm going to demonstrate how to use some additional data visualizations using what we call data bars. But in addition to data bars, I will also be demonstrating how to use heat maps and icon sets and so on. So it's pretty straightforward in how to use these things. It's really just based off of what information that you are selecting. So let me just go ahead and demonstrate how to do a data bar now. A data bar data visualization would look something like this. I'm going to select this series of data, focusing only on product A from these time periods. I'm going to go to the conditional formatting and I'll select the data bar category and I'll just hover over some of the options that I have here. And as I'm hovering over, you'll notice that on my spreadsheet, my cells are starting to format and they include bars based off of, and the length of these bars are based off of the numbers on the series that I've selected. So this is a really neat way where you're able to not only look at the numerical information, but sometimes just looking at all the numbers can be a little bit tedious. You can kind of see the overall picture in terms of its performance in sales units in our case by just kind of assessing these data bars. So you could do this for each one of the products. It doesn't have to be the same color. It doesn't even have to be this format. So for example, let's say I want to do a data bar where I assess the uh, all of the products that are sold for each time period. So let me create a new column and I'm going to sum everything inside January. So now I have the total sales units for all the products in January. And I'm going to use a filler option and get the totals for each month. Now, what I'll do is I'm going to copy these values and I'm going to paste it over to the next column. But I don't want to I'll go ahead and do a control V. Now, if I do a control V, you'll notice that my values are not the same as the values that I just computed for column G. That's because the cells shifted. So now I'm just gonna hit undo and I'm still have the series copied. I'm going to right click and I will use this option under the paste options where it says just the values. And you'll notice that if I place my active cell on that first value and look at the FX, it's not showing me a sum. It's just showing me just the value. So if I place my active cursor on G4, you'll notice that FX it's showing me that behind the scenes to get this value, I had to sum up everything from B4 to F4. Okay, so I'm just gonna hit escape because I don't want that to be copied anymore. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the values in column H. I'll go to conditional formatting, then I'll go to data bar and I can say, give me, I'll just go ahead and select orange and say, for example, I don't want the numerical values to be shown here since these data bars are representing the values that I have in column H. So I'll select the series here and I'll go to conditional formatting, data bars, go to more rules, and then you have a whole bunch of rules that you can modify yourself. Sometimes you want to change some of the conditions, and this is where you would do that. So this is a portion where I want to pay attention to so I can eliminate the numerical value on my data bar. So right here it says show bar only. I'll check mark that. And I'm going to leave everything else as is, press OK. And then now I have these data bars that represent the series here. So each data bar is representing the value that's right next to it, but it's taking into account its performance off of the series of data that I selected here. So that's a really neat feature that Excel has. If there are any sort of data bars that you want to eliminate, let's say for example, I change my mind, I don't want to have data bars shown in column B, I'll select it, go to conditional formatting, and I'll say clear rules. So under the clear rules category, I'll say clear rules from selected cells, and that will eliminate the data bars. So we also have something called heat maps where if you select an array or a series of data, it will color code the cell based off of the values with respect to all the values that you've selected. So let me go ahead and demonstrate that off of column B. So we're just focusing on the sales units for product A over the 12-month time period. I'm going to select the conditional formatting, and under the color scales, I have options similar to the options that I had when I hovered over to data bars. And I'm just going to hover over some of these so you can kind of get an idea of some of the formats that these color scales offer, right? I'll select the first one. Now, these are all color coded based off of the values that I've selected. So if I want to make any changes here, I would first select the information that I want to change. You can just go to conditional formatting, color scales, and go to more rules. And you'll notice here you have a variety of rules that you can uh, change, modify to your liking. Right. So I'll click off of that, hit cancel. There's another one called the icon sets. So I'll do that on product C, where I selected all the information related to that, and I will go to icon sets, and I'm going to select shapes. So when I select this one, three traffic lights, it's first looking at the series of data that I selected, and it gives it a color code based off of its value. So if it's a lower type of value, it's assigned a red color. If it's a higher type of value, then it's assigned a green color, and so on. So you can change these also by selecting the cells where the icon sets are. Go to the icon sets, go to more rules, and you can modify the colors here. So for example, if you don't want uh, the higher values to have this green color, then you can indicate it here. You can even change the type of icon. So again, all the modifications that you want to do is found under the rules part of that category. There is another one called sparklines, and that's not found under conditional formatting, but it's a really neat data visualization to use where it places visualizations within the cell, like you're seeing here with the data bars, with the heat map, and the icon sets. So let's say, for example, what I want to do is examine the trends of these sales units over the 12-month time period. And I want to do that for each product. So let me just go ahead and go to Insert, select the line button under Spark Lines. And in this dialog box where it says Create Spark Line, let's see, choose the data that you want. So the data is going to be everything from product A to product E. And the location where I want these spark lines to be. And I will select this area right here. And I'm going to go ahead and press OK. And here you get an assessment of how well the product is doing over that 12-month time period. So you can see product A, it kind of decreased towards around the end of the first quarter and then started to pick up a little bit. Whereas product B, there was a lot of volatility. It fluctuated a lot during that 12-month time period and so on. So I can go ahead and do a spark line here if I wanted to, but for demo purposes, I just selected just the products. So there's many things that you can do when it comes down to data visualizations within these cells here. It's a very neat feature to use, and it's used a lot when it comes down to creating dashboards because not only do you have the numerical information, but you also have these really quick visuals that you could refer to that can possibly raise a flag quicker than just strictly analyzing the numerical values.